All right, welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Missouri students, sponsored by the Missouri Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping comments before we get you started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many sessions that is happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at moacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded, so it will be available within about a week on the same website, moacac.org. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters.
Hey everybody, I'm Heather Flint and I work with Crowder College. We're so excited to be here. Today we're going to talk about surviving the college selection process. We will cover financial aid, how to choose a college and career, and how to apply to college. We plan to answer questions at the end, so try to hold those off until the end of the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ashlyn.
Hi, my name is Ashlyn Bradley. I'm a regional admissions counselor for Missouri Southern State University, and I'll be talking to you about applying to college and some of the processes involved.
Hi guys, my name is Jordan Schreiber and I am the Director of Student Recruitment at Ozarks Technical Community College, better known as OTC. And today I am going to actually kick us off. Ashlyn, if you, perfect, wanted to throw that up. So it may look like I am getting ready to land some sort of plane or ship, but that is not what I'm going to be discussing today. Turning to the college admissions process, one of the most crucial features is your financial aid package. Now, many of you will probably need to finance your college journey. Some students do come to us with cash in pocket, but I guarantee you, you're in the majority if you need to think about how you're going to pay for college. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the different types of financial aid and how to get started with the financial aid process. Now, looking at the types of financial aid, there are two general categories. The first is free money, and the second, not free money. As you might imagine, the free money is what you want to aim for. This is money you do not have to pay back, whereas the not free money is money that you do have to pay back. So under the free money category, we first have grants. These can come in the form of federal or state grant aid, and the most commonly used grant at any college is the federal Pell Grant. This is a need-based grant that's based on the information you enter on the FAFSA. More to come on that later. Another type of funding is the Missouri A+ program. Many of you might already have completed the A+ program or might be thinking about doing that in the future. That is one form of funding that you can use at community colleges and technical schools in Missouri. Next are scholarships. There are lots of different areas you can look in for scholarships, and we want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of those. And then finally, there's the work-study program, and I'll be talking a little bit more about how you can get signed up. Now, looking at the not free side of things, we have student loans. I'm going to be talking to you about when it may be appropriate to take out a student loan and when it may not be appropriate. So let's go ahead and jump in. Looking at the A+ scholarship first, this is a program that Missouri high school students complete while they're in high school. So it requires you to keep your attendance up, to keep your grades up, and to complete some tutoring hours. Now, if you've done the A+ program, good for you. That's one of the best financial decisions you can make. If you are thinking about doing the A+ program, I would encourage you to talk to your high school counselor to see about getting signed up. A+ covers tuition and common fees at participating community colleges or vocational or technical schools. The things that are not covered are books and supplies and course-specific fees. So A+ is almost a free ride. To keep your A+ once you get to a community college, you'll need to enroll as a full-time student, that's 12+ credit hours in the fall and spring, and you'll need to maintain a 2.5 cumulative GPA. Turning next to other scholarships, maybe you don't have the A+ program, or maybe you're just looking to pad your pocket a little bit. The first place I would turn are college institutional scholarships. Any college that you look at probably have a pot of money that they're ready to give out to their students. Places like OTC have institutional and foundation scholarships, which are privately funded to give to students. This is something that you are going to want to look into early on so that you make sure to meet those deadlines. You can also turn to local scholarships. You can ask your high school counselors about scholarship opportunities that may be available in your community. Finally, you can search for scholarships online. There are massive scholarship databases out there that are just waiting to connect you to scholarships you may qualify for. There are scholarships for everything. I've even seen some just for being left-handed. Now, I'm not left-handed, so I don't qualify, but some of you may be. So you can turn to sites such as scholarships.com or myscholarly.com. Some tips when looking at scholarships: track important deadlines. Scholarships are going to have different deadlines as you make your way through them. So keep a notebook or something on hand to keep track of those. Never pay to apply for a scholarship. Unfortunately, there are some scammers out there, and we don't want you to give them your money. So make sure it's free. And then finally, edit your essay. Spell check is your friend, and your teachers and your parents are also your friend. Make sure that someone else has looked it over to make sure you're making the best possible case for why you deserve a scholarship. Next, turning to the Federal Work Study Program. This is a program that provides part-time jobs for students who demonstrate the need according to the results from their FAFSA. Basically, you fill out the FAFSA and then you contact your school to talk about whether you qualify for a federal work-study position. The program allows students to earn money, a regular paycheck, to help pay for educational expenses. You get to work on campus 10 to 15 hours a week, and they have to work around your school schedule. Now, it does lower the amount of student loans you can take out, but that's a good thing. It keeps money in your pocket and reduces the amount of loans you take out. Now, turning to the not free money, student loans. Student loans are something that can be a great aid if it's the difference between you going to college or not. But if you're like me and make poor financial decisions, you might have used it to fund a new TV. So learn from my mistakes and carefully calculate what you need to take out if you decide to take out a student loan. These must be repaid. Once you exit school, either through graduation or from falling below half-time, which is 6 credit hours, you'll enter a 6-month grace period. After that, you have to make payments on your student loans. Student loans affect your financial future. They'll affect your ability to get a loan for a house or a car. They affect your credit score. They will follow you. So just be very careful if you're thinking about student loans in the amount that you need to take out and the ability for you to repay them. To get a student loan, you will have to go through some additional steps. This includes visiting studentaid.gov, completing loan entrance counseling to discuss some of the terms of repayment and what that'll look like, and then finally signing the master promissory note, which is your promise to pay back the loan. Now turning to how you apply for financial aid. All these great financial aid sources are out there, but how do you get started? The first step is to create an FSA ID. An FSA ID is a username and password that you must use to log into certain U.S. Department of Education websites. The FSA ID is used to sign legally binding documents electronically. It speeds up the process to be able to sign these documents electronically rather than mailing them in each time you sign them. You can create an FSA ID by going to fsaid.ed.gov. Now, thinking about the FSA ID, who all needs one? Not only does the student need one, a parent needs one as well. Dependent students must include parental information on the FAFSA, and both student and parent must sign the FAFSA with their FSA IDs. So you, as the student, and one parent will need the FSA ID. So who is considered a dependent? This is often a point of confusion for students because students think, I'm 18, I've graduated high school, and I'm legally an adult. Yes, you are. But according to the Department of Education, students are considered dependents unless they are at least 24 years old, married, a veteran or member of the armed forces, an orphan or emancipated minor, a ward of the court, homeless or at risk for homelessness, or have a child. Confused about your dependency status? Talk to your local college, even if you're not planning to go there, and they can help guide you on the right steps to take. Once you have the FSA ID, you're going to actually fill out the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your starting point to receiving any type of financial aid. It qualifies you to receive grants, scholarships, and student loans. To fill out the FAFSA, you go to studentaid.gov. Now, the FAFSA needs to be filled out annually. So each year you're enrolled in school, you will fill out the FAFSA. It covers an academic year. That's a fall, spring, and summer. So for example, the 2020-2021 FAFSA that we're currently in covers fall of 20, spring of 21, and summer of 21. For those of you looking to get started next fall, in the fall of 2021, the 2021-2022 FAFSA will be available on October 1st. Now I'm going to send it on over to Heather to talk about another crucial aspect of getting started with college.
Thanks, Jordan. Hey guys, so I'm going to be talking about choosing a college and choosing a career. So choosing a college is difficult. There's so many different choices and different people giving you lots of opinions on what you should do. If you remember anything from my part of the presentation, I want you to remember that there is no right or wrong choice. What's most important is what is right for you. Where will you be happy and be able to meet your goals? Also remember that in the worst case scenario, you can always transfer to another college if you choose somewhere that's not a right fit for you. Many wise people throughout the years have pointed out that what is important is doing what you love and what you have a passion for. You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. Maya Angelou. All right, y'all, get ready for the cheesiness. So when you want a college, when you choose a college, you want a college that cares. So first of all, you want to consider the cost. Everyone has different budgets and financial aid options. You want to choose a college that meets your financial goals. So here are some things to consider. Will you be paying for in-state or out-of-state tuition? Will you be able to use the A+ scholarship at that location? How much grant money and scholarship money are you getting? I'm 37 and I'm still paying off college debt, even though I'm almost done. I might have done things a little differently had I considered cost more. So make sure to talk to the college's financial aid department and admissions for financial aid and cost info. And don't be afraid to advocate for yourself to get the best financial aid package possible. Next, you want to consider academics. Does the college have what you want to study? For instance, if you're interested in studying oceanography, you're probably not going to want to go somewhere in the Midwest where there's no oceans. Also, you might want to consider, can the college help you towards your goal and with the first steps, like getting your associates in general studies or starting you out in a nursing program that will help you reach your goals. Another thing to consider is the program accredited? If the program you're taking is not accredited, then you won't be able to get a job. When you do college visits, you'll want to set a time to meet with the department you're interested in to get a feel for that department's culture and teachers to see if it's a right fit for you. Next, you want to consider the college's resources. Does the college have resources that will help you meet your goals? Such as, if you're a first-generation college student, do they have first-generation programs for you? Is there advising? Is there tutoring? Is there mental health counseling? Are there clubs and organizations where you can get involved and meet others? Is there career and transfer services? Next, you want to consider the environment. What setting do you want to be in? Do you want to be in a more rural area or more urban area? Do you want a smaller college or a larger college? Do you want a public institution or a private one? I strongly suggest touring at least 3 college campuses. This will help you get a feel for the kind of environment you like. And with all of these, lastly, you obviously want a college that supports you in meeting your goals. Here are some resources that I can suggest for searching for colleges. My favorite is the top one, College Board. They have a great search tool that has lots of filters, including location, size of college, and degrees offered. Choosing a career goes hand in hand with choosing a college. The college you choose should help you meet your career goals. Catherine Whitehorn is quoted as saying, "Find out what you like doing best and get someone to pay you for it." When choosing a career, you want to choose something you will like to do. This will bring you great joy in your life. There are many things to consider when choosing a career, but I want you to focus on 3 things. First, what do people compliment you on? Everyone has talents and things that they are good at. Think about what yours are and possibly choosing a career based off of your talents. Second, what do you enjoy doing? You might be really great at math, but also hate doing it. So I wouldn't suggest you becoming an accountant. You want to do something that puts a smile on your face. Third, what kind of personality do you have? Your personality can help you choose a career. I'm a very extroverted person, so I would be miserable in a job where I didn't get to interact with people. Think about your personality and what kind of career you would fit well in. Here are some career search resources. The first one, the Occupational Outlook Handbook, is a great resource that goes over the specifics of a job, including what the job does, if it's a job that is growing, and how much on average that job pays. If you're having trouble deciding or choosing on a career, you can take a career assessment test. On Crowder's website, crowder.edu, there is a great resource called Career Coach. You can take that career assessment for free. And you can also talk to your high school counselor. They're going to have a career assessment that they can give you as well. There are also a lot of personality tests out there, but my favorite is the Myers-Briggs, and you can find a free version online of that. I'll end with a quote: "Choose a job you love, and you'll never have to work a day in your life." Confucius. Now I'll pass it on to Ashlyn, who's going to go over the college application process.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay. Hi guys, it's Ashlyn again. So we're going to be talking about applying to college, and the first thing let's look at is where to apply. So on the college websites, let me get this switched over, maybe. Okay, so first, on the school's website, most of us have a link, like on this website for Missouri Southern, we have the apply button. You can also apply on the Common App. This is a website where you can use one application to apply to multiple schools. So you put in all your information into one complete application and send it to multiple schools, paying their application fee and meeting the requirements. If you need more information on the Common App, I can answer those questions at the end. Next is paying the application fee or requesting for a fee waiver. Application fees range from free to $95 at Ivy League schools. I know that can sound like a lot of money, but on average, the application fee is about $30. You can also request a fee waiver if you meet the school's qualifications. Each school may be different, but in general, application fee waivers are accepted for students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, students who are part of the TRIO program, foster care children, or anyone who is on government assistance. And last, if you're active military or veteran status. There are special circumstances in which application fees can be waived, especially with COVID-19. If you think you qualify for a fee waiver, go ahead and request one. It can't hurt to try and save money. Next, you'll want to send your transcripts. Transcripts have your basic identification information like your name, age, date of birth, gender, and social security number, as well as courses with grades, your GPA, your class rank, and possibly your ACT and SAT scores. I would suggest asking your high school counselor if your individual test scores will be listed on your transcripts. That way you can avoid paying for them from the testing companies. Transcripts can be sent directly from your high school to most schools via email, mail, or fax. Check with the schools you're applying to for their transcript retrieval policy. These transcripts must be official. This means they must be sent directly from your high school to prove authenticity. Most come with a signature from the institution's representative or a school seal. Sending your ACT or SAT scores is the next step in the process. When registering for the test, you can select up to 4 schools to send your scores for free. So after the test, you can also request your scores, but you have to pay. So for the ACT, they charge $13 per test report unless it's been over 3 years. Then you have to pay $39 to remove it from archives. The SAT charges $12 per test report online and $15 over the phone. There's also an upcharge for tests over 3 years at $31. So typically it takes about 7 to 10 days for colleges to receive your scores. As I mentioned before, check with your high school and see if your test scores are already on your transcript. This could save you a lot of money. I would suggest checking the college's policy on test scores as well. Missouri Southern super scores, so we allow our future students to send screenshots of the test scores, which means as long as your full name, the test date, a composite score, and your individual scores are shown in the screenshot, you can send me an email with that information. Not all schools allow screenshots or high school transcripts with SAT scores and ACT scores. So definitely check with your schools that you're applying to see what their requirements are. One of the last items admissions office typically asks for is a copy of your FAFSA. By sending this information, colleges you're interested in attending can create a financial aid packet for you. Then you'll be able to see exactly what the school is going to offer you. You can share this information with up to 10 schools by following these steps. Step 1. Log in with the FSA ID or with student information at FAFSA.gov. Step 2. Find and select the option to make FAFSA corrections. Then enter your FSA ID or personal information. Step 3. Depending on whether you logged in using your FSA ID or your personal information, you'll be prompted to enter your FSA ID and create a save key, or just create a save key. Step 4, click Next on the FAFSA correction home screen. And step 5, locate the school selection page with the school codes and enter the school's name in the search bar to bring up its code in the database. Step 6, you'll need to know the state in which the college is located, as well as its full name or city to bring up an accurate result. So if you're looking for Missouri Southern, you're going to look for Missouri Southern State University in Joplin, Missouri. Step 7, click on the appropriate code and make sure the school is displayed in your list of schools before submitting the corrections. After you've verified that the information is correct, click the Next button. Last step, step 8. Click on Sign and Submit in the top navigation bar. Preview your changes and then submit. After you submit, you will see a notification that your application is processed. If for some reason you log into your FAFSA.gov account and see that your form is still processing, you'll have to wait until your form finishes processing before you can add schools. After your FAFSA finishes processing, you'll get a notification, and then when you log in, you'll see an option to add corrections. Anytime during the application process or college search process, feel free to reach out to us admissions counselors. We are happy to help you. Our job is to be there to answer questions and guide you through the process. If you cannot find the information you're looking for on our websites or just need someone to talk to, please reach out to us. The same goes for high school counselors and parents. We're here for you guys. This last slide are some tips on how to stay on top of the college process. The first suggestion is apply early. Send in the required documents we talked about as soon as you apply. There's no reason to wait until the last minute. The sooner you have things turned in, the sooner we can get you admitted and ready to go. Start a notebook for the college process or write in a planner. This will help you keep track of important deadlines and a list of items each school needs from you. The next item is know the requirements for each of the schools you're applying to. Make a checklist. Mark the items off as you go so you know you don't have to worry about them later on. Last but not least, apply for as many scholarships as you can. Scholarships are free to apply for. It's free money. It's totally worth the effort. This last slide has our contact information. I'll leave this up while we answer questions. At this time, please drop your questions in the chat if you have not already. If we do not get to your question, we will follow up with you after the meeting.
All right, guys, it looks like we have one question in the chat right now. I'm sure the other ones are getting ready to pour in, but the question we have is, when should I make the FSA ID? And I'm going to go ahead and answer that just because that's what I was talking about. Yeah. You can make an FSA ID at any time, even though the FAFSA for the fall of 21 isn't available yet until October 1st. Go ahead and get that FSA ID out of the way. You're going to want to go ahead and get that created. It's just a step you're saving yourself down the road. All right, it does look like we're getting some more questions. So the next one, are any of your schools test optional?
Hey, Jordan, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the one we already answered. I'll take care of that.
Perfect.
I'll go ahead and answer from Crowder. Crowder College, we do take ACT, but if you haven't taken the ACT, there's a placement test that you can take here on campus. And we don't require it for admissions, but we require it just to make sure that you're college ready for some of our college ready level classes.
I'll go ahead and answer from Missouri Southern. We do require the ACT or the SAT. Right now with COVID, this past semester, we allowed our students who were not able to take the test to go ahead and be admitted. But they do have to finish out taking that test. We did allow them to take it on campus. It just depends on how this next year goes on if we're going to make it a requirement. With the testing centers opening back up, we're hoping that kiddos can get back in there and take that test, but if not, we're going to make accommodations. So right now, yes, it is a requirement, but if for some reason COVID affects your ability to take that test, we do make accommodations in that sense.
And finally, for OTC, we do not require any type of placement testing. So while we will take your ACT or SAT scores, we do not require it. We do a process known as guided self-placement, where we help you choose the right courses for your level for math and English, but we do not require any testing. All right, so the next question, what is considered early when applying?
I would consider now early for the fall, but any time is a great time to apply for schools. You can never be too early. Putting your application in and sending that information in just gives you a head start on the application process. That way, you know where you're accepted, you know what your options are. Most schools open their application as soon as, like this fall semester, once our fall 2020 semester started, we opened our applications for the following fall. So most schools already have these applications open for you. So it's really never too early to apply. So if you're interested, go ahead and start.
Perfect. The next question is there a difference between FASFA and FAFSA? That's a great technical question. The answer is no. It was just a typo on the PowerPoint. The FAFSA is free application for federal student aid. FAFSA, that is what it is. So that was just an accidental typo. So, but good call out on that.
Yeah, good catch.
Yes, thank you.
And honestly, some people say it FAFSA and some people say FAFSA, but it's FAFSA.
Yes. All right. And then another question, can students take either the ACT or SAT? What is the difference?
I'll go ahead and take that one. It really depends on the school. A lot of the East Coast, West Coast schools are going to be the ones that require you more for SAT, and more the Midwest is ACT, but a lot of schools will take both. And the difference is the type of questions that they ask. And there's actually, I don't have the website off the top of my head, but I know there are assessments out there that you can take to kind of see which you would be more successful at and get a higher score at, ACT or SAT. Do you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, that's basically how I would explain it. It's a different breakdown of categories as well. So they kind of test for the same general concepts, but it's set up a little bit different and you're tested a little bit different. Well, like she said, it just depends on where you're located. Most schools accept both. So I would suggest, if you're interested in both of them, read about the different forms and figure out what's going to work best for you. Like she said, there's an evaluation option where you can see which one you may do better at.
Great. Another follow-up question on SAT and ACT scores. When do we get those scores and when do we take them?
I can take that question.
Sure.
So you have to schedule the ACT or SAT through their websites. You can take them depending on when they're available. They are proctored tests, so you take those at a testing center, typically at a university or somewhere like Sylvan Learning or a tutoring center. However, with COVID-19, there has been some issues with getting testing centers to open and having availability. There are written tests where you are actually handed a piece of paper and you sit and write out your answers or fill in the bubbles, or there is an online option. But again, they have to be proctored tests. Typically, you get your results within 4 to 5 weeks. Again, COVID permitting. Those test results could be extended wait times, but you are sent an email saying when your test scores are ready. We do offer the residual test scores at Missouri Southern. So if you wanted to take the test, the ACT on campus, you could come to Missouri Southern. There are a ton of local schools that do have that option. So check in your local area to see where testing centers are. You can also go to the websites for ACT.com or SAT.com, and they actually have the option to pull up a schedule with dates that are available and locations. So I think I answered all of that. Okay.
Sounds like it. Great. So if I want to live on campus, is there any financial aid I can apply for help with housing? I'll throw it out to you ladies. OTC is a commuter campus. We do not have on-campus housing.
You can answer first, Heather.
Okay. All right. So first of all, A+ scholarship is not going to cover that. It's not going to cover housing. But there are federal grants like Pell that can help cover that. And then any other scholarship money that you get through the school or from another resource, as long as there's not any sort of stipulation on it that it can't be used towards housing, at least at Crowder, that would all be able to use on housing. Is that similar for you, Ashlyn?
Yes. So we have all of our scholarships that we have in-house are going to be able to be applied to books, room and board, and tuition. With that being said, if you apply for outside scholarships, sometimes those are going to have stipulations like she mentioned. Some of them may be specifically for books. Some of them may be specifically for tuition. But there is option for applying for assistance with housing at different schools. But again, that goes along with your financial aid packet. So you can discuss those options with the school that you're wanting to attend. I would suggest weighing out the on-campus housing costs compared to living off campus. We love to have our freshmen live on campus because you get that first year experience and you get to be on campus and get the feel for the college experience. But if it is more affordable to live off campus, we totally understand that. I lived off campus my freshman year because it was more affordable for me. So it's an option to live off campus too. So just weigh your financial abilities, whether that's using your student loans. If you have enough scholarships, I would suggest living on campus at least your first year so you can meet some friends that are also going to school there.
All right, so the next question, which I'm happy to take, is can you apply for scholarships while in high school? Now, I'm assuming this question is coming from a senior. If you are a senior, you should be applying for scholarships while you're in high school. Every school is going to have their own scholarship deadlines. For example, for OTC, for next fall, the scholarship application opens March 1st. For many schools, that scholarship application is opening this fall semester. So you really want to pay attention to where you're going. Now, I'll just say a little caveat there. If you are a high school student who is wanting to take classes as a high schooler, such as dual credit, or you're wanting to take a class on the side, we have a program known as Early Start, where high school students can take classes. You would not be eligible for federal student aid. You have to complete a high school diploma or equivalency to be eligible for that. But you should be applying now. If you're a senior, be looking at those deadlines to get started. Okay, so if tests are optional, but you are able to take the tests, should you take the tests?
Yes.
That as well. Yeah.
Yes, I think what I've been telling students, especially this past year, our admissions department allows you to be admitted from multiple options. You can be admitted based on GPA, on your ACT scores, or if you're in the top 50% of your class. With that being said, your scores are usually used to put you into classes. So that gauges where you're at, and it can save you money in the long run. So say you score a 28 in English, you could skip 2 English classes at Missouri Southern. So that could save you about $1,000. So if you have the option to take the test, absolutely do it. Plus, if you don't take the test, you might miss out on scholarships because you don't have an ACT score or SAT score. So keep that in mind too.
And ladies, just so you know, we got about 7 minutes left.
Perfect. All right, so the next question, which is a great question, even if my daughter is only a sophomore, should we file for an FSA ID already or wait to senior year? This is a great question. You can do, technically, the FSA ID can be done at any point. That sticks with you for life. That will be you. Now, one important note, if you're a student, do not use your student email from your high school because you need access to this email. Because inevitably, if you forget your password or something, they're going to send it to that email. And oftentimes after high school, students don't have access to that email anymore. So create a Gmail account, something that you can have access to later on. Now, for the sophomore, you could get started, but generally students wait till their senior year to get started with the financial aid process. The FAFSA can only be filed in the fall before you actually start college. So it's filled out annually. So you wouldn't be able to fill out a FAFSA now. You would have to wait until the senior year. Okay, so do all colleges have a placement test as a backup for those who weren't able to do the test?
We do.
I don't know if we can speak for everyone, but I know Crowder does. I'm going to guess OTC does and MSSU does.
Great. Yes, I would say that most will if they don't.
And just so you know, some of them are free and some of them are not. So that's also something to consider as well. We have an English one for free. The math one I think is $12. And then there's a few other ones that are $15 to $25. So it just depends on the school. So definitely research that in advance. It's a good question.
Yes. What grade are we required to take our SAT or ACT tests?
I don't think there's an actual requirement. I actually was part of a program that we took them in like 7th grade to kind of get ahead of the game. Yeah, I know. But a lot of students usually start their sophomore, junior year and start taking it then. And then you definitely want to take it, I would suggest at least one more time your senior year.
Yes, definitely. The next question is, what grade should you be in when you start applying for colleges? It's a great question. We get that. I know I run into that a lot. You should be a senior to be applying to college. As a junior, you can definitely sign up for information from the college, be getting on a list to get email updates, but it's as a senior that you'll actually apply for the college. Another great question I see is, do volunteer hours help when colleges look at students? Anybody want to jump in on that?
Yeah, it depends on the college, but what volunteer hours really are good for are your academic resumes and then also your scholarships. It'll give you something to write about when you're answering scholarship essay questions. And it just makes you a better human, getting out there and meeting other people. And with what I talked about with choosing careers, volunteering is a great way to get out there and kind of see, okay, is this a place that I would want to work in?
For sure.
Absolutely. I would just hit on that. It's really important. I started college with this idea of what I was going to do. I was going to be a chef. And I started out in a culinary arts department. It was okay. I ate really well for a semester. But I changed my mind, and I wish I had taken some time to volunteer or get some internship hours prior to joining that program, so I would have known what that field was really like. All right, another question. We'll just keep hitting them until we're cut off. So for Missouri, which is better, the ACT or SAT, which I think
ACT.
Ashley, yeah, I was going to say for Missouri,
it's
ACT. Yeah.
It's mostly Midwest schools do ACTs.
Perfect. Can I sign up for colleges more than once when my GPA and ACT changes?
You don't really need to sign up for the college more than once. Like, you would only fill out an application once, but you can send us updated transcripts and updated ACT scores. So that's all you would need to do. You wouldn't need to go through the whole process again.
And to touch on that, if you took your ACT more than once, a lot of schools super score, but if they don't, go ahead and send multiple scores to them just so they have them, so they can see that you scored better, and say math the second time you took it, or just make sure you share those scores with them, because we do want to see that, and that does help with your placement. So if you took it more than once, share those with your top schools.
Awesome. And last question that I see, I think we're going to get to it. Would it still be all right to go for scholarships despite being a sophomore, or would that mainly be reserved for juniors and seniors? The answer to that is you need to wait. No one, to be completely honest, they're not going to award juniors and sophomores scholarships. They're going to reserve those for the seniors going into their freshman year. But then once you're in college, apply for scholarships every single year. So you'll just want to apply in the year before you actually go to college to get those scholarships, and then just keep applying after that.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
And feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information's there, and we'll be reaching out to you guys.
Thank you.